Hey guys, Marsinged here, bringing you a Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we're going to be taking a look at the EZA for the INT XENO Pan. She's probably going to be the main support unit for the Heroes team, depending on what the kits for the new units are going to be like. Obviously, after she released, she was pretty decent, and then of course, the way she works being a unit that revolves around dodge, being a support unit, she became a dodge or die unit fairly quickly for difficult content. So we're going to take a look and see what her EZA has done for her and whether that sort of role changes. She is built for full dodge for me with a little bit of additional because she does at least have a stun chance, and now post EZA she does actually have a super attack effect, greatly raise attack and defense for 1 turn, supreme damage and a high chance to stun. She didn't have any defense raise on her super attack previously, so additional supers weren't really doing much for her other than giving you the extra chance to stun in events where that was possible. So the greatly raise obviously now is very, very useful. And her passive, she gets attack and defense 140, an additional 70% when performing a super. She gives crossover allies 3 key and attack and defense 40%, whilst also giving additional 20% for characters who belong to the Heroes category. So Heroes characters are getting 60% support from Pan. She has a great chance to crit, 70%, great chance to dodge. Then she gets an additional 70% defense within the same turn with each attack evaded, and then an additional attack and defense 70%, and all allies' chance of performing a crit 15% per crossover ally self-excluded attacking in the same turn. So on the full Heroes team, it means she's giving the other 2 units on the team a 30% chance to crit as well, which obviously is going to be very useful. You think about, like, we still don't know what the universe tree Goku is going to do, but I imagine he's probably going to hit fairly hard, especially with his active skill. So with Pan, not only is he going to be getting 60% support, but also an extra 30% chance to crit with that as well. So definitely very interesting. So we're showing her off here, obviously just on the Heroes team as it is now with the double Vegito leads. She starts off 282k defense on this turn. So bear in mind she's going to get what, 70% on super. So 70% extra puts her up to like 479. Her greatly raised on super is going to be worth about 140 or ish around there. So she's going to be up to around 600k defense after 1 super. Now the thing is, she gets the 70% each time she dodges. That will be multiplicative. So if she gets up to 600k defense, let's say, on this turn after performing a super attack and everything, if she then gets a dodge, that will be adding 70% of that number, which means she will then go up to being over 1 million defense. So it is going to be one of those interesting and kind of annoying situations where it's like, you don't want it to be like the first attack she gets hit and then dodges the rest, right? She wants to ideally be dodging at least 1 attack before she's then going to be taking any other hits. And obviously it would be possible within the same turn because it's 70% multiplicative, right? So after the first dodge and it goes up to 1 million, then if she dodged again it would be 70% of that, so it would go up by like 700k. And then if she dodged again, then yeah, she could end up getting, like, depending on how many attacks were in 1 slot, she could start getting up to like 3 or 4 million defense if she dodges like 4 or 5 times in a row, which is very interesting. Obviously complete RNG, but there you go, we got 3 dodges on that turn, so she would have been well over 2 million defense after that last dodge. But ideally you just want her to be dodging everything, right? With 70% dodge chance and then the 30 in her hidden potential that I've given, ideally she just dodges everything, and then maybe on the off chance there's like the 1 attack she doesn't dodge, but it's going to be after she's already dodged like 1 or 2 already, and so then it's not going to make a huge amount of difference to the overall damage that you're going to take. So I'm going to float off Trunks here just because he shares a couple of links with Pan. Obviously in terms of keeping the rotation the way we would want it, I'd want to leave, I'd want to have Trunks between the 2 Vegetos, but we won't care too much about links on the opposite rotation when we're doing a showcase. So Vegito, of course, eating the super in slot 1, taking a little bit of damage because he's got no links active, but it is what it is. So yeah, Pan obviously providing a lot of support, going to be very useful for these hard-hitting Heroes characters. And of course she is giving support to crossover in general, so there are some other units that she would be able to support. Be interesting to see, I need to make a video talking about it, but whether we are ever going to get the Xenoverse characters EZAs. Because like going forward, if Heroes isn't going to be a thing anymore, hopefully we're still going to get buffs for like the crossover category. Because last year after Heroes, we got the 21 Dokkan Fest, who is a crossover with Fighters. So I know people really want to see crossovers with like Sparking Zero, with some of the what ifs from those modes and stuff like that. So the fact that Pan supports crossover means that she can be on those teams and still be quite useful, because 40% support is still good. But then obviously if the characters are heroes as well, which of course all heroes characters are crossover characters, they get 60% support, which is really, really good. And so obviously on this turn, we are going to get the support from Goku, because of course Pan is a Goku family character. She did get sealed though, because of course she did. So 350k, her thing is it when attacking or when super attacking? Yeah, it's when performing a super attack, which is always annoying, because it means if you get sealed, then you don't get that. So we have to give her a quick heal here. We had Saiyan Lineage and Shattering the Limit active last turn, I believe. No, Fierce Battle... Actually, yeah, we'd have had Fierce Battle with Vegito. We don't have Fierce Battle this turn, but we have Patrol with the Xeno Goku, which is 20% defense. So now, when we start talking numbers, this is where she can start to look quite good, right? Because 350k defense, so then she's going to get plus 70% on Super, which is about 250, just under 250k. So she's going up to being just under 600k. Her super attack effect then is already giving a 50% defense raise. I'm not sure if that is, I don't think that's off of this number, like it doesn't take into account support, but it's going to be at least 100 to 150k. So post super attack, she's going to be somewhere between like 750 and 900k defense. And then as soon as she dodges one time, like I said, she gets an extra 70% on top of that. So as soon as she dodges the first attack of the turn, she's only taking one here anyway, but she dodges that first attack, she goes up to being over 1 million defense, which is pretty good. It means in these really tough events against harder hitting bosses, if there are like a slot where she's going to be taking a couple of attacks, if she dodges one or two of those and then gets hit by a normal, even from some of these bosses that are hitting for like 1.5 million damage normals, she's going to take double-digit damage as long as she's gotten some dodges off before that, which, you know, there's still a bit of RNG involved, right? You don't want her getting hit by the first attack, as we've already said, but it's good that she does at least have that kind of backup. Plus, remember, she's still got a 70% chance to dodge on top of that. And then with my one having 30 dodge, she's got a 30% chance, which is a separate, they don't add together, so she doesn't have a 100% chance to dodge. But she has a 70% chance, and if the roll for that fails, she then has a 30% chance. So ideally, she's just going to be dodging most of the time. But yeah, certainly, like, the build-up within the turn is really good. It can jump up immensely because it is 70% of whatever her defense is at the time that she dodges. Which, I mean, she's not a unit that you would ever really use for that anyway, but it very much does mean that you can't really use her in slot 1, right? Because without the Goku support, we've seen her, what, like 250 start of turn. That means if she dodges, if you put her in slot 1, she dodges an attack in slot 1, she's only getting a 70% buff of that 250. Whereas obviously once she's super attacked herself, not only is she getting the 70% buff from her passive, she's getting the greatly raised from her super attack effect, and then when she gets her first dodge, it's 70% of that number. But to be fair, it's like we said for Toa in her showcase, like, she's a support unit, right? So outside of this showcase scenario, she's not going to be on main rotation, realistically. So you don't really need to worry too much about her viability as a slot 1 unit, right? So here we've got Patrol, Saiyan Lineage, and Fierce Battle. So 315k defense, that's pretty good. Go ahead and do this. Do this. It's still a real shame to me that Trunks like creates rainbow orbs, but he doesn't do anything with them. Mechikabra creates rainbow orbs, and not only does he heal from them, he also gets damage reduction. Trunks doesn't get anything from rainbow orbs, which seems odd. I think with as good, Mechikabra would still be good without it. Obviously, I don't want them to take away from his EZA, because I think he's really good. But why does he get damage reduction per rainbow orb and Trunks doesn't? Like, that would make Trunks significantly better. But I mean, with the support from Pan and the couple of links, like, he's going to be pretty decent. 13 mil. And then obviously we do have the chance to get the multiple extra attacks. Like, Trunks can still be fairly decent, but I do think they definitely held back on him a little bit more than I wish they would, considering he was the headliner of that hero celebration, right? Him and Mechikabra and Pan were like the three sort of big units. And Mechikabra's EZA is really good. Pan's EZA seems to be pretty good. But Trunks is a little bit lackluster in comparison to those guys, which is unfortunate. So let's go ahead and I guess we'll just grab these. Can't get any physical orbs here, sadly, to get a nice big health jump from the Xeno Goku. You can attack lower this Buhan. I'll have to do this stage for the Vegeks showcase, because Vegeks is going to be an interesting one, because he gets a lot of his extra. He's going to get a lot of extra power against enemies that can be status affected. So in certain events, he's not going to be anywhere near as good. But yeah, I thought we would do the Pan one a little bit earlier, because rather than leave the Pan one until last, right? I wanted to try and get Pan's one done next now, because then I think I'll probably record the Vegeks one next, and I'll probably put her on the team, right, just to provide some extra support. But yeah, Vegeks is an interesting one. We'll get into all of his details in his video, right? This is the Pan video. In terms of her 200% leads, outside of all the heroes units, she is on the 200% lead for beast, like physical Ultimate Gohan. But the problem is, like, when it comes to anything like Hybrid Saiyans and stuff like that, she does only support crossover with the extra to heroes. So there's not really a lot of scenarios where she's going to be useful on teams outside of like a heroes build, right? So I would say you probably are just going to be running her on the heroes team. But like I say, once we see the kits and everything for the new characters, unless we have like one of the new characters is a really, really good support unit who's like really good defensively with damage reduction and stuff like that, right? Then Pan is probably going to be the best option for support, especially for a super class like sort of themed team. Because we've got Tree of Might Goku, the Universe Tree Goku. I can imagine him being like a crazy hard hitter. Fu is going to be the extreme. Hopefully he's decent defensively. A lot of the other Fu units have like dodge built in, so he's probably going to have something like that. And then of course we have Eos, who is I think probably going to be a support unit. And then we have the Super Saiyan Warrior in black. Not sure what he's going to be like. Of course, he's kind of a blank, so he could be anything really they decide to do. And then Demon King Demigra. I'm hoping that either him or Fu are going to be very strong defensively, and then the other one strong offensively, and then there'll be a good combo for an Extreme Heroes team. So I think Eos is probably the only one that has the potential. I mean, I could be wrong, right? They could all have a little bit of support in their passive as far as I know, but Eos is probably going to be the one who would be next in contention for being the go-to support unit for the new Heroes team once all of the units are out, unless it's Pan, right? And potentially, even if Eos is good, depending on how you want to build the rotations, having Pan on the team as an extra floating support unit is going to be an option anyway. So I would say that she seems pretty good. Like, her raw defense after she super attacks is enough that, apart from like the toughest bosses that we have in the meta at the moment, she's still going to be able to tank normals relatively well. She has a 70% chance to dodge, and then as soon as she dodges the first attack, she's already then tanking the potential next like normal attack much, much better, right? Like, as long as she dodges that first attack that comes her way, she's then going to be able to potentially tank normals like really, really well. So, okay, so of course she gets locked in slot 3. But, you know, this is a decent enough rotation. You're at 1.4 million defense now. So let's do that. That's going to give us a full heal probably, yep, off of 2 orbs. And then we'll go ahead and do this. So get Dark Mask King. I mean, he's on full health. Let's hit the nose with Dark Mask King. It's not like he's going to do a lot of damage. He's getting the 60% support from Pan, but I think he only has Prepared for Battle and Shattering the Limit active here with Xeno Goku. But yeah, imagine the rotation of like Universe Tree Goku and then Xeno Super Saiyan Goku and Xeno Pan. It's going to be like 110% support to that Goku, plus like 30% crit chance as well. And that could be pretty crazy. Yeah, 7.1. So I mean, her attack stats nothing too crazy, but like I say, as a floating support unit, she's not really on the team to do damage. She does have the 70% crit chance built in though as well, so she will get crits fairly consistently and actually do a little bit of damage as well, which is nice, right? Absolutely better than nothing. But yeah, I think we can end that off there. Like, she's not a stacking unit, so it's not like we're gonna see any other sort of numbers that we haven't seen already. I'm not sure really if there's anything I want to do to her hidden potential. I think her having the dodge is probably the most important thing. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of Xeno Pan down below in the comment section. Like I say, I think she's going to be one of the go-to like supports for the Heroes team once we have the new lineup set up, once the new characters are out. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.